What's good, brother? What's good, my guy, fellow fellow champion? Just got off work on my way home. Nice, nice. It's your time, dog. It's your time to just to be. Afternoon. Hey, hello, welcome, Riri. Repeat, welcome. It's been pretty great. Yeah, honestly, I've spent some beautiful quality time, you know, with loved ones, chilling, kind of working on lots of content. I actually just recorded probably the longest, but most like extensive video where basically what it is, you know how I've created a long format video, right? That was like directed. It was like very directorial. I did the same thing, but instead I recorded my morning run. So basically, this morning I woke up, drank some cacao, and went for a run. And I recorded every element sort of in this like videography-esque way. And then I recorded my cold plunge and cold plunge thoughts and kind of created this little visual journey with music. And I've recorded so far about 80% of it. Like I've done all the editing, I've arranged all the sort of clips, and I've done the music to it. It's taken me a while, actually. It took me like 45 minutes of just editing and flowing through. So it feels pretty interesting. It's like a nice project. But that's been an interesting parallel. My week has been pretty good. Yeah, and also to repeat, yeah, it's, again, like the last few days, I've surely been in this place where I've been like juggling a lot, kind of like restructuring my routine a lot. Basically, you know, as I've been very vocal with, I've been doing my cold plunge practice again, with short sprint practice again, but also restructuring my strength training protocol. Basically, in the simplest right, I'm trying to purposely focus on incorporating more consistent training. So, but basically going to the gym like 5-6 days a week minimum, but focusing on really finding that perfect balance where I'm not trying to, you know, force myself to say be at the gym for like an hour and a half, maybe be there for 30 minutes some days or 40 minutes and fit that in between things. Basically just finding a even deeper dimension of balance within that. I do not know how to play River Flows Within You. Yeah, yeah. Heath Ledger, every time I see you, I think of him. Why, thank you. That's always, every time it's a compliment. It's always high praise. Yeah, no, I found myself a lot these last few days. I basically had these visions of, I basically am teaching myself Japanese, and I've told myself, what if I start to just plan every detail of, say, like a trip to like Australia or Japan or Thailand, just for the sake of even just for the practice of it, to just crystallize all the details. Hey, why, thank you. It's honestly, I've been kind of stressed actually. Well, not this last, I think the last few days, like a few days back, I was kind of processing a lot, sorting my priorities with my strength training and my cold plunge protocols, and basically writing a massive list of things, like basically a to-do list, but a very like uh, ambitious to-do list that I'm really just crossing off a lot of in these last couple days. And it's been interesting, like reflecting, being very honest with myself. Sounds authentic, brother. I'm glad you're dedicating time to the art. Thank you, dog. It's honestly, bro, I'm in this place where, as these next couple weeks unravel, I'm super hyped to continue to grow this community, to, unlock monetization, etc., etc. But I feel like where my mind is at is I really want to try to learn to focus and to cultivate, creating very high quality content, like the content style stuff that I can be doing in the future. Basically, is creating really high quality, immersive video projects that are basically, what we're doing in these streams often, right? I'm just kind of like holding space and talking about music and, I don't know, training and the brain and dopamine and the quantum and etc., right? I just love to talk about all these different parallels. But I feel like what I would love to do moving forward, as I've kind of spoken once or twice, is I would love to make these same monologues come to life, but with a whole visual experience. Basically, just go full YouTuber mode. And it takes a lot of time to kind of like, edit and learn to really like piece together these really visually stunning experiences. But I'm really excited because I feel like as a YouTuber, that's like, it's just creating high quality content to the highest degree. That I think when people experience it, they learn some stuff, they get to see what this channel's about, understand what the vision's about. But it's like a miniature movie, they're getting like a deeper experience that's just visually stunning. And that's kind of my focus. I don't know. That's just where my mind has been at. I see almost every day, but sometimes you just have your live streams playing in the background. Sometimes interact. That's magic. Thank you. I appreciate you, Emma. You know, I speak of this openly. Like, I was kind of like, I had an interesting dialogue yesterday. A lot of it was just like holding space, hanging out, playing music, doing lots of cool percussive element stuff. But I noticed part of where my stream unraveled was, those random people that I remember, like one fellow, he was saying some stuff that was a little bit basically against the core values of the stream. It wasn't even like that unhinged. And I remember just like openly using that as a point of discussion of basically being like, I want to honor where this person's perspective is at, but also just honoring the boundaries and what the intention of the stream is. And long story short, I think it's valuable to, as a streamer, try to also make this an experience where it's not just about me particularly. Like, that is, I'm trying to take very specific moments where I'm introducing awareness to just hold space for the audience. Like, genuinely, if I'm trying to just like offer perspective or, give advice or give my 2 cents about everything, that has value. That has a time and a place. But I think there's a very interesting direction that one can take as a streamer, as a space holder, as a facilitator, YouTuber, whatever, where you can almost like find those unique moments to hold space for your audience. Let your comment section and the people that are a part of this, just give them the ability to have space held for them. Be it if I'm just playing music, as I do. That's, I think, a version or a type of holding space that's just giving myself permission and looking at the larger context of how I can step outside of myself in a healthy way. Like, be like, you know what? There's moments where I can be, a facilitator for this. But there's also moments where, I can facilitate something different. And I'm really interested in kind of exploring that. Yeah. Very inspiring of that. Jurassic Park theme. Honestly, no idea how to perform that. This is not a cover artist still, but thank you for, the interest of that. But throwing out good vibes with that. I see very inspiring and trying for personality. Thank you. That's kind of you. I've learned things from you that I wouldn't have learned. Play some jazz and readings and your thoughts. That's magic. Thank you, repeat. I think that's, the simplest right, because this is, I think, what is the key to actually succeeding as a YouTuber. Like, in the long term, there's many different parallels and hoops that YouTubers and influencers or whatever can jump through. But I think the key thing that often I myself am always universally attracted to in an influencer or YouTuber or whatever is literally just a person, a human being, naturally, that is just being authentic with themselves. Wherever that is, however that is, maybe it's them, just trying to penetrate through a lot of the noise or the social conditioning. They're just giving themselves permission to be themselves and extend that to others. And I think in doing that, it also happens to be creators, YouTubers. You look at some of the most successful YouTubers that are authentic to what they are. They're authentic to what their vision is. It's like they're authentic to doing basically what they desire to do, what they love to do as a creator. They're not trying to create an experience in some sort of like fabricated way. They're literally always looking at the next vision of what is the next like higher intention of what I as a creator desire to bring to this space. And if you really think about that, it's almost like there's creators that try to create for, algorithm, for clicks, for likes, for whatever reason, right? But I think then there's also certain creators that try to purposely basically just do what is fun. They basically just try to have as much fun as humanly possible as a creator. Do what they find fun. Make content that they find enjoyable and fun and engageable. So I'm continuously on that quest where I'm like trying to always like be very constantly self-aware to be like, what is the next phase of how I want to take this? What's my next creative vision that I just desire to just let the viewers, be it if it's a live stream or be if it's like my audience and my content, how can I take them along this path or this journey? I want to take them on a journey where it's not about trying to do something that's already been done. It's doing something that surely has never been done, but is unique to myself. Is like what I genuinely feel like, adds value. Again, this is all just words and words, but it's like in theory, when you understand what I'm saying, it'll make more sense. But is there instruments that you do not know how to play? There's many, yeah. I can say confidently, I don't know how to play the jazz flute. I don't know how to play saxophone. One day I'd love to learn to play the jazz flute and the saxophone. But truthfully, once you figure out how to play the guitar, like you learn how to play the guitar like quite well, and you train your ear to play the guitar, it actually lends to pretty much every instrument you could think of. Like really, if you break down the structures and the music theory of guitar and you understand it, you've basically climbed the highest learning curve in most music. And that's just an inevitable fact. Your vessel glows. Thank you. What about dopamine and music? What about dopamine and music? I mean, dopamine and music is on my mind all the time, I could say. I 100% cannot play chopsticks. I mean, I would say if we're talking about dopamine, whoa, I just need the piano. Damn. But yeah, dopamine and music, I would say, I actually made videos about that. But if I were to intuitively speak about the importance of dopamine and music, all you gotta really connect the dots to is delayed gratification and instant gratification. The key to succeeding, I made a long format video about this that did pretty well. The key to succeeding in any instrument endeavor, if we're talking about how to learn the guitar, there's all these different elements, but the key is actually just engaging in delayed gratification. That is, if you're trying to learn an instrument, you're like, all right, I want to be a musician, right? if your brain is not operating out of delayed gratification, like if your brain is literally not seeing that there's not going to be any foreseeable, tangible, instantly gratifying reward in the next multitude of years, maybe, your brain should be seeing the long-term vision. And I think that's the key to succeeding in many things is, delayed gratification. But if you're going to say learn the guitar, you do need to realize that a part of succeeding at it is literally seeing the long-term vision. Like if your brain can literally associate a motivational drive with, say, something that's like, you know what, in 5-10 years time, I may one day get to some degree of mastery with this instrument. And you look at like almost such an ambitious vision that is years and years down the road. If your brain can literally become motivated from that and nothing else, like you're not trying to be like, you know what, I need to associate motivation with learning a song, or I don't know, performing at this, or getting some sort of validative thing. Invariably, it's delayed gratification that is releasing dopamine through delayed gratification. That is 1000% the key to succeeding. And the huge part of that is, I'll be perfectly honest, the part of this that is the opposite contrast is you have to also successfully step outside of instant gratification. And this is the key, is like a lot of us, we are addicted to instant gratification. We're receiving instant gratification bursts. Even when I'm doing this, right, when I'm opening my social media apps, or I'm opening YouTube, or to some degree, there's instant gratification playing nonstop. It's often, it's like we're so programmed to believe that instant gratification is what we actually seek dopaminergically. The reality, like the actual reality, when you look at people who are powerfully succeeding in anything in their life, they've seen that is a lie. That is an illusion. We don't actually desire to receive immediate, instant bursts of dopamine that we are nonstop chasing. We actually desire to transcend that. And how you transcend that is you begin to operate out of delayed gratification. So if there's anything you can take away from the stream, I hopefully understand that if you desire to do something that is going to be challenging, that has high learning curves, and most of the best things in life have high learning curves. Growing a YouTube channel has an extremely high learning curve. Learning the guitar, very high learning curve. Freaking learning martial forms, extremely high learning curves. Like, if there's anything worth doing in life, it's probably going to have a high learning curve and be very challenging. And the idea is you should not be stifled or thrown off by these types of things. You should actually hardwire your brain to see the opposite. You're like, oh, there's a high learning curve. Well, that means that there's something profound that is going to be taught, integrated, something that most people who are addicted to this delayed gratification or this instant gratification loop are probably never going to see through. Because most people, we're incandescent, myself included, yourself included, we are so profoundly addicted to instant gratification. We can't step outside if we try. We can temporarily see through it. We can hardwire our brains, build a life that isn't reliant on instant gratification, but we're still going to be a part of the programming. It's still there. And most people, they're like unconsciously addicted. They're like, they can't see the forest from the trees. They couldn't understand the strategic, almost neural networking that is required to succeed, because this is really about succeeding in things. It's not just about, playing the guitar, learning curves, or dopamine, this, that. It's like if you genuinely desire to actually succeed at something, you cannot be focusing on the immediate, instantly gratifying reward. It's just, that's never going to allow you to actually discipline and motivate yourself successfully. You have to actually, and this is again, all of this is almost summarizing, you need to look at extremely ambitious long-term visions. Be like, this is what I desire to one day achieve, and really build your reality around the ability to achieve that. Anyway, hi brother, how are you? I'm good, brother. I'm good, yeah. I've been pretty chill. I mean, as you see, this is a nice late stream, or later. I usually do streams in noon or whatever, afternoon. But I've actually today, this may be a shorter stream itself, because what I'm doing is I'm rewiring a lot of my routine in a very intentional way. I've been doing the sprint. I wake up, sprint, cold plunge, I'm making it a thing where I'm going to try to train every single day at the gym, no matter what. Now, 6 days a week. But the idea is I'm not going to try to push myself to destruction, and I'm going to try to orient my day in a way where I'm focusing fully my training protocols. Streaming will happen, but it's going to be gravitating around my healthy training protocols. So that's been good. It's been a powerful day. But even right now, it's like, I'm convinced it's a beautiful day out. I might just do a short stream, do this for 45 minutes, drop everything, go downtown, go to the Cherry Blossom Festival, bring my guitar, meet up with some friends, go see some live acts, and then maybe do some strength training out in the middle of nowhere, and then do a live stream in the evening. Like, why be confined by routine? Why be confined by structure, even if it's a routine that you think's serving you? Anyway, a lot of words. A lot of words. I must have failed to see the one person who was hating on me, but c'est la vie. C'est la vie. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Oh, I see. Mask Sod Cod. What a name. Yeah. I like your point of views about life and creativity. No, I'm not trying to do my best. Damn. Well, I think, Mask, thank you for chiming in, brother. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, but I've already gathered from the few comments you left, you're either not being genuine or authentic with yourself, which is fine. You'll figure it out, dog. Or you're just not my target audience. That's cool, brother. So you've lost common rights indefinitely. Stick around, don't stick around. You're not my target audience, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, thank you for listening. But what will a man do if he fails long term? Muscle ups. I like your name, brother. Muscle ups are goated. What will a man do if he fails long term? Well, he's a man. If he's a man, like if he's a true man, he's developed, he's rooted within the masculine core, he's going to be a student of life. He's going to put in perspective why failure or success was such a effort. He's going to accept it. He's going to see the deeper wisdom. I almost think that it's a bizarre thing. If you look at a man, right, the difference between a person, like a man, woman, whatever, that has succeeded in life, or someone that you could define as, oh, they've not succeeded. What is success? What are you going to tell me success is? What if a man is like, you know what? My success is to go live in the remote mountains of the Himalayas, have some goats or something, maybe have a nice dog, go for sprints in the mountains, live away from society, a simple life. He doesn't have to achieve anything. Like, people don't have to. Now, of course, we all have different journeys, different, burning passions, different destinies, if you will, of what we desire to accomplish. A lot of us, we live in society. Society convinces us that we need to achieve something, that we have to achieve something, or else we're not worth whatever, right? That is a weird paradox. That's not how reality actually works. None of you or I actually have to achieve anything. Even on a fundamental level, we're just talking about psychologically, you or I don't have to technically achieve anything to just be valid as a human being. We can literally just do nothing. We could just be, and we are just living the human experience. These are a lot of philosophical truths, but Alan Watts, he expresses this very openly. Why do a lot of us believe like we have to act like there's some grand thing outside of ourselves that we have to achieve, that suddenly we're attaching all these, we're jumping through all these hoops and all these things? Your journey is probably different from mine. Your definition of success, maybe my definition of success from some random guy who's living remotely in the mountains, who's maybe happy just to have a partner, to have, maybe a cat and lives in the mountains and he grows his vegetables. Like, if a person has failed in any sort of metric, they've probably failed to see the deeper point long ago. And if they've recognized that they failed, they're on the path to hopefully discovering in this lifetime or their next, whatever they're here to discover. I don't know. Basically, what I'm saying is philosophy. Philosophy is the answer. Develop a healthy philosophical context and you'll never fear failure. Is there any moment where you feel tired of the piano? Because you look like a single masterpiece together. Wow. Honestly, to Bota, very, very rarely. But yes, of course. There's days where I wake up and I'm like, I'm like hearing pieces of music. Like, that sounds good. That sounds good to me. My brain is like already piecing together the next. I just love the piano very much. But some days, I don't know, some days I'll wake up, I'll put the piano, I'll just be like, nope, nope. You know, I'm like, it's like, it's not, maybe it'll sound good, but it's not like touching my soul. And that's okay. But that's very rarely. I have to say, probably in the last like 2-3 months, maybe like 2 days out of those last 2-3 months, have I ever been like feeling that way. But it's, so it is what it is, dog. I don't know. It's so complicated to me to see to what you say. Interesting. Interesting. Do I like Caillou? The television show? Well, all I'll say is this, muscle up. Here's a universal thing that is relevant to what I'm saying, to what you're comprehending. I think there's a few things, if what I'm saying is like, makes zero sense, like me saying, hey brother, your philosophical perception of success is probably warped if you're fixating on failing or succeeding. This, to me, tells you that you're on a quest, muscle up, to unlock a deeper level of comprehension, a deeper level of communication, a deeper level of maybe developing a philosophical context to go there. I've returned to those core thoughts a lot. What I'm saying is a lot of people, unfortunately, we all fall short to some degree, but a lot of people, for whatever reason, have not truly nurtured their ability to communicate. And, if what I'm saying, if I'm simply communicating, honestly, what I'm saying is not that far-fetched. But if it's something that, you see and you're like, I want to understand, but it doesn't make sense, or I can't apply the deeper models of what is trying to be said or requested, even if it's not about me, like it's about your perspective, right, of how you're trying to comprehend what I'm saying. This is a request. This is an invitation from you to maybe just go deeper in exploring and validating your ability to communicate with yourself, brother. Like, think about that. Like, part of the reason I'm a YouTuber is I've went on this random quest. did mushrooms like several years ago, where I had this powerful epiphany that I realized you know what? I think I'm meant to be a YouTuber. And part of this quest of desiring to be a YouTuber was many years before I actually created the YouTube channel. It was me pulling these threads, learning to communicate to myself and in turn the people around me, the universe at large. Like, communication is it's like an ethereal thing that is so important in this world. And the simplest, right, brother, what I'm even saying is, you do realize, like, you have free reign, right? Freedom to just take your phone or a camera or whatever. You don't even have to be on a phone or camera, but it's good to have that presence and that cataloging. You can just go into the forest or go into a silent, safe space and start to hold space for yourself. Just start to speak whatever words, conceptualize, philosophize, psychoanalyze. You're able to basically exercise and strengthen your ability to communicate. It doesn't even have to be that complex, right? You can strengthen the ability to maybe speak with authority, speak with intention, maybe speak with tonality, whatever it is you desire to do. There's no wrong, but I think it's like, this is a sort of a cardinal part of this channel. I'm not really doing anything that complex. Sometimes I'm making music. Sometimes I'm just communicating my truth. This is literally me intuitively creating a content creation portal. Whether I'm creating music, whether I'm talking, or engaging within my audience, this is me intuitively improvising content. But this is really the art of authentic communication. And anybody and everybody who's watching this, you have the ability to unlock this, to exercise this. It doesn't have to be whatever it is you see here. You don't have to do anything remotely of what I'm doing. You could if you desire to, but the idea is everybody has not only the ability, but they should desire to have the autonomy to just communicate their truth at any given moment. And I think a lot of us, we have this weird model of how we suppress ourselves. We suppress our voice. We suppress how we desire to dress. We think, but this is that, and we put these weird suppressed limiting models. We suppress of how we can achieve things in our life, or how we express ourselves musically, right? It's like, It's just these are core things. Is a lot of us could and have the ability to strengthen our ability to communicate. It's life-changing stuff, like literally life-changing things to be able to learn to communicate what you want to communicate to yourself, to your intimate partner to be, or potential intimate partners, to your family, to the universe at large. Like these are such powerful things that start so simply. They start so easily, right? They're so accessible. They're at your fingertips, literally. Anyways, tangent. So what does your spouse do? My partner, she is she works in costume. She's like a second hand in costume in the film industry. I also work in the film industry. That's actually how I met her randomly, but yeah. Very well said. And of course, Alan Watts. Yes, brother. That's why I hope for those of you that desire to sort of like sit with the most foundational, the most palatable level of philosophy, because sometimes, in this channel, it's kind of the way this is. I go off in tangents where I'm talking about like metaphysical philosophy and metaphysical anomalies, and maybe Osho this, Osho that. These are things that take time. They take a little bit of a foundational awareness to dive into philosophy, right? I'm a student of philosophy. I really feel that most of us, especially us as men, if you're a man watching this, to develop your philosophical context, contextualize that whatever we will, that is probably one of the most important things you can develop in this world. And yeah, Alan Watts is a very beginner friendly, very, interesting, very warm individual. And it's very entry level. Yes, Alan Watts. Yes, what is success? Money. You don't bring in the coffin. Success is what you do and continue. Success could be love another person or find ourselves. That's exactly right. That's exactly it, Teatro. Is I could speak about this in a long, woven, stretched out way, but in the simplest story, yes. A lot of people try to associate, like this is a key thing. And I speak of this openly on this channel. And I try not to focus on, talking about, say, money per se, or even not even money, but the larger conceptualization of what money is. That's a deep rabbit hole that a lot of us could, I don't know, perceive in different ways. It could go in a million directions. But the idea is the strange thing that a lot of us might not realize. Maybe you do, but you don't really process and accept this. A lot of us do not seek money per se. We don't seek the material income or resource. Sure, we want a foundational awareness of money used as a tool, but a lot of us, we fail to make the connection that it's actually not money that we desire. We don't. It's not. Like on a larger level, once you're a full-grown adult and you're receiving a decent amount of income or a basic amount of income, most cases it's not money you actually desire. And a lot of people, they get this weird misconception where they think they become fixated. They become like in a tunnel vision where they think it's money I'm trying to seek. It's always money. Money will achieve this, it'll unlock this, it'll awaken this. No, it's like you actually seek something deeper. You seek safety, you seek connection, you seek maybe like, to feel valued, to feel loved. You seek all these things that actually in many rights, paradoxically, money will never actually achieve you. Sure, if you're a self-aware person and you're operating in a different model, we're able to transcend a lot of this weird, almost manipulative conditioning that is thrust into us in society. But what I'm saying is, in many rights, money is the illusion. You think, oh, but money will grant me this. But the reality is you actually want something that you can achieve before you had money. You almost, like in many rights, if you think money was the answer, money was the thing that basically was trying to bridge you or give you this like almost this endless addiction even per se, or endless association with something that you never can truly find clarity within. It's like it's an illusion. It's like you do seek, surely, some of us, we want money for XYZ things, material gains, but it's like if you want to buy an expensive car, what do you actually want? Do you want an expensive house, or you want to get an expensive trip to someplace? What are you actually seeking underneath these things? There is something. You're seeking maybe some sort of safety within your boundaries, or serenity, or some sort of, dimension of validation, or, honoring the self-worth that you may lack. It's just, there's deeper dimensions that even if you purchase a car or you have unlimited amount of money, you do realize that there's a underlying, almost spiritual or emotionally, fulfilling or important dimension that money is only trying to basically manipulate you away from actually achieving the things that money will never buy. And it's almost like if people try to make that weird misconception, they think, okay, I'm going to design my life around material gains, thinking material success is what I've always sought. You will live a life where you'll never find true happiness. You'll never see what true success looks like. You'll never find true happiness. Not saying, again, this is the doom or the fate that all of us or anyone here is ever going to. But it's like, it's a weird rabbit hole. And again, I'm not an expert, but when you really think about these things, it makes a lot of sense. I've been listening finally on the bus. A word. I can't imagine what a mindfuck it would be to be in the real world listening to these things. No, sir, I have lots of hair. It's literally down to my nipples. It just gets in the way, brother. The relationship of your instruments and your music is somewhere between the relationship you have with yourself. Yeah. 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 That's an interesting statement, to I'm from Liverpool. And shout out Liverpool. Liverpool's tight. I like England. But or Liverpool, I think maybe it's England or Britain, I don't know. But the idea is, yeah, brother, I think not only that, I think a relationship that we can form with the resonance pattern that's in music, because we form a relationship with, a guitar or a piano, right? As we would humans in some constructs. But what it's doing is it's a teacher. It's teaching us profound lessons in life. Like, whether we're learning perseverance, we're learning maybe dimensions of discipline, and we're learning, as we spoke of, like brain health, about dopamine, about how your brain develops motivation in relation to something like an instrument, and how you can basically learn to break free of the illusion of what your brain thinks it wants. Like, say, instant gratification. You think you pick up a guitar and you're like, okay, but maybe I want to learn a Metallica song. You think you want to learn that song. Maybe you do, because Metallica, whatever music you want to learn is dope as fuck. But the underlying thing is a teacher, or your instrument is a teacher. Your lovers, your people in your life, they're all teachers. But as is with a partner, if you have like a spiritual relationship with a partner, your relationship with an instrument, it is also a spiritual teacher. Like, that's the idea, is it can be a teacher as like, okay, I'm learning lessons, I'm learning values about myself. But if you say, look at, and this is why, a lot of my channel and the direction my life has gone, is I've become a sound healer. I'm very attracted to composing sound journeys and just pulling those threads that align with not only just writing music, because music itself, like, this is, music compositionally, it has something that evokes something, but there's a resonance pattern that is beneath music. Like, there is a resonance pattern that reverberates through your being. It's a vibration that flows through. If you're singing, and the same thing happens if you speak words, but it's like if you play a guitar and you're playing a bunch of chords and you're writing a song, or you're just like connecting, you're creating vibrations. You're connecting with a resonance pattern that is literally tuning you. Like you tune an instrument, you're tuning your entire body vibrationally with the process of connecting with music. And I'll be honest, that is not only life-changing, it's like you can change many people's lives, and you can basically transcend, like you can use, say, playing a guitar as a vessel to literally spiritually heal yourself and other people. Like, it's just the core thing. And it doesn't have to be a guitar. You can do this with any sound instrument. You can do this with your voice. You can do this with anything and everything you can imagine. It's like, It's like the surface level of what we, can access in a human being or an instrument, and like the lessons they learn, they're all beautiful, but it's almost like if you see it in such a way, like you look at some of the almost like ancient applications of what an instrument is here for. Like, why did human beings start to sing and hum and pick up instruments and, gather in tribes and dance and sing and connect? There were very like powerful primal reasons that I think a lot of us in the modern society, like we look at, we're like, wow, why is the music industry so corrupt in some rights? Or why are so many of us disconnected from artistic expression? Why are so many of us suffering with dysregulated nervous systems, and we're spiritually lost, we're psychologically lost? Well, it's because there's ancient precepts that is, again, as simple as like, oh, wait, you can spiritually heal yourself with your voice. You can spiritually heal yourself with the process of becoming, a musician or expressing with music. And these are things that a lot of the mainstream people don't really just process. Like, they don't cognize that. They're like, oh, wait a second. It's not about being a musician and rocking out and being a rock star. It can be that if you want. Like, do whatever you want in this world. But you do realize it's more about learning to create an infinite portal that is infinite. It's like you're healing yourself, healing others. You're accessing, like, I speak of this very openly many times in life, right? Is there are portals, like in the exact definition of what you see as a portal, right? You enter and it's an infinite parallel to another reality, or in the simplest right. There are portals in this world, like they're real. Like the reality is, like, a lot of people, they sort of don't even emphasize or look deeply into what that is, but if you design a life that doesn't see that or understand that, you'll never see them. But there are portals in this world, and it's not that complex, right? Dance is a portal. Like, dance is surely, it's an infinite portal, infinite possibilities, infinite actualities that connect people, that energetically connect. Music is surely a portal. The voice is a portal. The ability to summon voice and dialogue and conceptualize is a portal. It's just there's so many little things in this world that you literally step into, and the second you step into it, infinite possibilities arise. And I think if you're just talking about a partner, a lover, humans are portals. Healthy, aligned, intimate partners are portals, as is dancing, as is music. Almost basically what I'm saying is, if you fill your life with the capacity to identify and enter portals, people, experiences, things that have infinite possibilities, your life will become exponentially better, like your quality of living, your quality of life. And it's not even that complex. Mike is saying, so the relationship you have with your instruments. I like what you said about the Liverpool. Okay, hit me up. Job stress, kids. Job stress, kids. That's another rabbit hole I would love to underline. But I'll be honest, brother, a lot of what you're probably, like, to the homie saying HRK or HR Christopher, that's probably in the simplest right, like job stress and kids. Yes, stress is real. Yes, honoring your health is important. Yes, honoring your kin, honoring your choices, honoring, building a familial context, honoring your ability to make income. All of these things, though, you realize they're free form in the way that you have chose to see these things. It's almost like the beliefs that you formed around how limited you are in your job, in how you experience and mitigate stress, and how you maybe raise your kids in reflection to how you're raising yourself. These are all things you have far more power in your reality than you could ever imagine. Truly, it's like, and without going too, interpersonal about this, if you try to actually understand, like, say, quantum theory, you understand, like, hey, let's apply what quantum theory is. Let's study what basically metaphysical philosophy, understanding what the quantum is. It's like, if you think your life is limited or is, for the worse, it's unmanageable by job, by stress, by your kids, by your kin, by your relation with family. These are all beliefs that you actually have the ability to breathe an empowering, enriching narrative that literally is like, you get to choose to actually form better beliefs. And not only that, you get to basically see that there is a deeper way to almost like see the deeper way that you can, I guess, how do I explain this? Basically, you can engage in things like the quantum that really just teaches you that you have profound influence over every thought and choice and possibility that exists. It's almost like there's a possibility where your job is enlivening, where it's empowering, where you love it. You love every part about it. There is a reality where stress is not present in your life because you've made intelligent, healthy choices that have unraveled to you honoring your body and not experiencing stress the same way, psychologically and energetically and physiologically. There's a reality that exists parallel to right now where your relationship with your kids, with your family, with familial context as a whole is not only changed but is evolved, is immediately in a place where you're honoring the future generation and an extension your kids. It's like I really believe this is just a metaphysical philosophy 101. If we look at the way the quantum, theory operates, that is proven to be how this is how reality is. Every given parallel of what you think is or is not is so. It is for the better and for the worse. How you perceive, the people in your life, the intimate partners you think of, the dimension of you and yourself. You are all of it. You are the most positive components of who you think you are, and you are the most negative. At the same time, it's all so, all of it. And again, there's a reality where your most empowered self is living his most abundant life. There's also a reality where you are, maybe this is a reality you're in, where you're locked in an unabundant dimension of yourself. And it all comes down to awareness of how much control and ability you have to influence your reality with your choices. Anyways, I'm speaking a lot of things, but simply your choices weave everything. Your philosophical context constructs how you make intelligent choices, and then how you can choose to make more intelligent choices moving forward to live a reality that is not feeling victimized by the things in your life. Sometimes it's a moment you will never forget because you're allowing yourself to surrender. So because you cannot start, sometimes you simply cannot start the fire. Yeah. Well, the relations you have with the instruments. Yeah. I have to say, to what you're saying about, because I agree. There's a reason why I'm speaking about this stuff with, you realize I'm speaking about this the same way I would speak to myself, right? I'm not I'm not trying to paraphrase or, sugarcoat any of this. The reality is a lot of us are trapped. This is the absolute reality. It's not this isn't a simple, almost rose tinted glasses kind of oh yeah, we're everything's all golden, baby. It's no, the reality is these are arduous truths that take radical conscious intervention. If you look at your life, you're man, this world's fucked. This world's fucked. My life is fucked. Damn, wow, it sucks. Well, how are you going to take conscious action on actually realizing how much power you have in your life? How are you going to look at your life and be you know what? It's actually going to take true conscious intervention. It's going to take, new choices that align with new realities. It's going to take a conscious shift to step outside of vast arrays of very intense programming that a lot of us, most of us, were a product of. We don't have to look very far. This world is an intensely programmed experience. A lot of us, we're drowning in seas of maladaptive programming. This is just the truth. If you want to penetrate this, you want to see through this, you know what, I'm going to make a choice that's actually going to change my life or make my life, my quality of life better, you realize that you're going to have to come from a place of arduous action. You're going to have to, not even arduous action, you got to have conscious intervention to actually penetrate the generations, if not, multiple generations of maladaptive conditioning. I don't know if that makes sense. I did ayahuasca, and that's why I'm here too. Damn. Wow. Bless you, brother. Well, I'm happy you shared that, brother, Christoph, because genuinely, then this will make sense. Not only will this make sense, then I'm happy that I got to spread that message to you, because that may not make sense to everybody. It may, like, hopefully. But I think that generally it's like you 1000, if you've taken that choice to sit with something like ayahuasca, DMT per se, that is 1000% exactly what I'm talking about. Now, it doesn't have to be ayahuasca. That's like a quintessential example, but I commend you, brother. I commend you highly. You're doing it. I'm on a quest. Why do I feel bad? Walking with me everywhere all the time. I can't understand why I have this bad feeling walking with me. Well, there's a few things I would say muscle up. But deadass, like, the truth of this is why you're feeling bad is likely your nervous system, brother. Why you feel bad is your nervous system. It's your somatic nervous system, your felt experience, your nervous system. You realize that even if you're in a place where your mind is like psychologically, like, you know what? I'm on the path, I'm radically doing my best, succeeding, XYZ, this and that. A lot of us, we operate from a dysregulated nervous system. You know, I was reflecting on this when I was doing my cold plunge earlier today. It's like, you do realize that, I mean, you probably, if your name's Muscle Up, so I'm assuming you are an athlete as well, or you're on a path to becoming an athlete. Our body, our nervous system, the muscle fascia in our body, our somatic nervous system, it holds and stores trauma, right? Our somatic body, the muscle fascia, every part of our body, it holds, especially our physical vessel, it holds trauma, right? It stores it. It stores emotion in the form, you know, it's like trauma manifests in the form of like blocked emotion. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's sadness, maybe it's all these things, right? And more. And the idea is our bodies and our nervous system are holding years and years, if not decades, if not generations of trauma, of energetic blocks, imprints. Like, that's the reality, is your body is holding things. Your nervous system is how you're experiencing it. It's how you're experiencing processing stress. It's holding on. Unless you know, are going out of your way to engage in ways to release and honor and nourish your body through, say, you know, conscious breathing, breath work, through somatic practice, you know, things like cold exposure, things like maybe expressive movements, which is my favorite way to do that, or maybe creative expression, like cathartic musical expression. Is your body is, and your nervous system is holding on to lifetimes of trauma. Think about it, brother. You probably don't have to think very hard. Is like, if you look at the betterment of your childhood or the last 20 years of your life, there's probably moments where there's been things that become stored in your body, especially as men of the 2026 context. We have things that become stored within our vessel. You know, maybe it's an emotion, maybe it's like a physical blunt force trauma, you know, some sort of altercation. Maybe it's just we hold on to so much very simply in our bodies. And it makes sense that if you truly want to return to autonomy, to alignment in your life, you actually have to recognize that you should desire to basically find a way to honor, to nourish your body, your somatic body, your physical body. Because if you're like the mass majority, if not everybody, we're holding on. Our body is literally holding on. It has somatic codes written, it has energetic codes, it has trauma and emotions in every part of our body. So all that's saying, all I'm simply saying, brother, is find ways. Find ways. Think of it. It's not even that hard to think about. Maybe it is in some regard, of ways to honor your body. You know, if you have an intimate partner that you share intimacy with, that you maybe just like intentionally experience each other, you know, just allow yourselves to just, you know, engage in massage. You're sitting alone. Maybe you're honoring your breath. You're honoring just all these elements of how you can nourish your body. Like, there's an abundance of ways that you can let yourself honor your body, release, you know, the energy or the trauma that is sitting in your body. And again, it's almost like, in the simplest right, it's an uphill battle, right? It's a conscious path that should and will take time. Like, you know, to reprogram 10, 20, 30, 50 plus years, generations of trauma that is literally in your body, that takes time. But it's not a hopeless endeavor. Like, you have the ability. You actually have an insane amount of ability. Like, you could wake up today and be like, you know what? I'm going to go to a spa or sauna and meditate for an hour. You could go for a run in the forest and do some qigong or breath work. You could, go pick up some weights or try to approach some way to honor your body. Like, you have so much ability to honor and nourish the body. And that's the key thing, is like, how can you ever be in alignment if your body is still holding on to the past? It's holding on to these emotions and this trauma that's stored in your vessel. Yeah. But in the simplest right, again, a lot of these things, they all center around each other. Dance, movement, training, maybe musical expression. Like, these are all ways that you can actually reprogram your nervous system. Ways that you can, honor the parts of your body, the parts of your whole energetic being. But yeah, no, it's just, yeah. I guess all this is just a call to action, if you will. Call to action. Nourish your body, love yourself, give yourself some radical self-love with taking action to honor your body. Find the things, the people, the portals that can create infinite parallels. This, if you're open, this could be one. This could be your portal. This, because obviously in some regards, this may not be, this may be obvious to some of you. This is a portal as well. Maybe you've never seen YouTube even used in that way. Like, you're like, oh yeah, YouTube is just AI brain rot slop, or it's an unconscious compulsive program that's confirming itself. But you do realize everything, and this is kind of part of what my core mission in this channel is, hopefully, ideally, is to actually penetrate the program and be like, hey, you realize that you're looking at one of the most powerful, empowering, unifying technologies that's ever been at this time. Reality is your phone, is this technology, is social media. These are things that are powerful portals, but a lot of us, we don't even begin to acknowledge or apply it or see the potential in it. If you're like, what, maybe I could grow a life-changing social media business or community portal or whatever it is, if you desire to do that even, I don't know. It's like, there are portals everywhere, and you need to be simply just conscious of what they look like. It's not even, again, this isn't even complex stuff. Like, go to a gym, go to a dance floor, go to an ecstatic dance, go to a forest, a deep, deep forest. Like, just, there's portals everywhere. Can you make music for my 2-year-old? She's a little stressed. Yeah, sure, bro. Music for a 2-year-old. Yeah. Have I been blazing? Have not blazed ganja in 11 years, brother. Yeah. Not, yeah. But hey, but the object performance is real. Yeah. When you can't start the fire, just know that it's supposed to in the moment. My point being, yeah, we can know. We know for certain that the sun will rise. The object performance is real. When you can't start the fire, just know that is how it's supposed to be in the moment. That's beautiful. Absolutely, Liverpool. Absolutely, my dog. I mean, I call this, I like to call that letting your actions guide your experience. Because yes, this is the thing, and I really believe this, to the bottom of my heart. I've spoken this many times. I've seen this unravel through my life for many years. There is many instances where yes, you need to let your actions guide your experience. You will not feel a immediate momentum, a motivation. You won't even understand what it feels like or looks like to let your nervous system and your reality actually respond until you are in the state of acting. That is, if you are, you're like, you know what, I should pick up my guitar and play, or I should go to the gym and train weight training, or I should go to this martial art class, or go to whatever this thing is that you feel like you really desire to do, but you're not motivated to do. In many rights, for many avenues of your life, you need to let your actions guide your experience. A lot of people assume, or they'll, default to be like, oh, but your experience should guide your actions, always. It's like you think that your experience will naturally just motivate you to guide your actions into action. But in the reality is a lot of things, this is habit forming, this is neuroplasticity 101. You have to let your actions guide your experience. You have to act, and then in the moment of doing, you're just like, now I remember why this is so beautiful, why I desired to act, even if there's apprehension, even if there's genuine resistance. In many rights, because this is a weird thing, is a lot of people, I think, I don't know, I haven't lived like that in a long time, where a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't realize how important, just taking action in your life is. Like just acting, not thinking, not trying to conceptualize, not trying to intellectualize why you're doing it or explain yourself. It's like you just act. You're like, there's no reason other than, and this all returns actually to delayed gratification, strangely enough. It's like, it all centers around when you live a life where your mind is operating on delayed gratification, you just act. You just do. You're on a state where you're like, you know what, I have so much more arduous hours and, hours and time and energy to get to wherever it is you desire to be. You see the long-term vision. You're like, you know what? I know for a fact that my goal is like, it's like your soul is lit on fire because you're like, the goal is like to be on a degree of mastery, and your brain isn't questioning whether you should act. You're just acting because you know that that is the key. It's acting. You're doing. You're engaging. You're not trying to tell yourself why you're acting or explain to this, that. No, you're just in a state of action. And that's, of course, the state we want to desire to get to. But I think it takes time to let ourselves step outside of, I guess, whatever it is our nervous system and our dopaminergic experience. Again, weirdly enough, everything we're speaking of, Liverpool, actually also centers around delayed gratification and instant gratification. Strangely enough, that's where it started. It's where it centers. Is a lot of us, why aren't we taking action in our lives? Why aren't we letting our experience guide our actions in a way that's fulfilling, that is facilitating growth, expansion, abundance, etc., right? It's because a lot of us are addicted to instant gratifying loops. We are sitting here in a world that is convincing us. And this is even further. It's not the world's just convinced. The world is profiting and manipulating us based on instant gratification. Like this isn't just random. It's not like we're in a world we woke up one day and we're like, damn, instant gratification. Like what a bizarre entity. This has been a governing, dominating force that has been present and is only getting worse and is only going to get worse for a long time, for probably like 100, if not thousands of years. But in technology, in the realm, the wave of revolution of technology that we're in, or the revolutionary time of, technology, is instant gratification is the reason why we're unmotivated. Instant gratification is the reason why a lot of us can't connect to the ancient role and the precept of what dopamine is supposed to do for us. We're basically being programmed, again, because there are giant corporations, every corporation you could think of, any larger governing dominator culture is profiting. They're attempting and successfully controlling you with instant gratification. So yes, but a lot of us, we don't see what is on the other side of just simply acting because our brains have been fried successfully by instant gratification. We believe that, oh yes, this is what I want. This is what I want. I want immediate gratification. I need gratification right away. Where that is what is killing our motivation. That's what's destroying our neural connections that see beyond instant gratification. So it's as simple as like you have to actually successfully step outside of the programming of instant gratification to then set the foundation. To be like, you know what? Maybe I do want to discipline myself. Maybe I do want to step into discomfort. I want to push myself and apply myself to succeed in things that take immense amount of concentration and discipline and etc. etc. You have to step outside of instant gratification to begin to let your brain rewire itself to experience delayed gratification. And again, that's as simple as when you're letting your actions guide your experience, this is where you're actually on the path. When you're taking action, this is you realizing that, oh, your brain has been wired in a place where it doesn't actually even know what it wants. It doesn't even know what it desires from your felt experience. That is why you're letting your actions guide experience. That's why you're needing to take action and let your experience then feel the truer reality that it knows it needs to experience. It's like, it's a weird thing. This is a slippery slope and a rabbit hole that circles around a lot of things, but it's like a lot of us, we're demotivated. Our brains aren't working for us. They're working against us because we've been addicted to things like instant gratification. We're demotivated. We couldn't see the forest from the trees, and the odds are profoundly against us. Like, it's not like this is like a coincidence that we're like, oh, some of us are addicted to this and some of us are instantly gratifying. No. It's like we're in a society that's profiting, that is dominating, like a dominator culture, as Terence McKenna likes to say, that is literally profiting and depending on you losing your individualism. They're depending on being able to control and manipulate you. And the easiest way to do that is through your dopamine. It's through your evolutionary currency. It's through being like, so you desire to think you have autonomy. You want to do things in your life with your brain, with your very motivating, anticipatory neurotransmitter. What is no better way to manipulate you than to make you think you're free, make you think, oh yeah, this phone is going to give you so much this and so much autonomy. You're receiving all these instantly gratifying rewards and your whole brain is programmed off of that. Meanwhile, you're living in a weird paradox. Making friends in the outside world isn't working for me. Most people I see at work who live in here only talk about superficial things. Yeah. That's fair, Lasser. That sucks, brother. I mean, I remember like 10 years ago when I was working regular jobs, living a more normie type life, and obviously still like, being the person I am, but like, yeah, brother, it's okay to, like, this is a weird universal truth that I love to reinforce, all day long. The stream yesterday, I remember I spoke for like an hour or something about blah, 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 boundaries. It's okay to honor your boundaries, brother. Like, your boundaries are everything that is honoring you. Like, your sacred boundaries, if we're going to use that context. Like, you're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to be like, you know what? These people are toxic. These friends, these coworkers, these XYZ, whatever. You're allowed to be like, you know what? I'm going to create a loving, sacred boundary and be like, nope. Like, no thank you. No thank you to the people that are toxic, that are not serving you, that are not aligned with you. Like, that is a beautiful, beautiful thing that you are allowed to honor. It's called boundaries. And that's the bizarre thing is, this is what's so fun, but also bizarre about being a YouTuber is, in this realm, YouTube, and I speak of this openly, a lot of YouTube is about learning to navigate and set healthy boundaries, at least for me as the creator, right? And it's bizarre how so many people, fortunately, a lot of the community, I think, of this community, is pretty on the ball. They're not like too egregiously removed from the idea of what boundaries are, but boundaries are everything. Boundaries are everything. Like, the boundaries are the way that you perceive and have absorb other people's energy, or how they absorb you, how you walk down the street and, you choose to be free and express yourself or feel safe within your own energy. It's like boundaries are everything, and you're allowed to. Like, this is just a universal thought, right? Or universal truth. You're allowed to set boundaries whenever you want for any given reason. You realize that, right? Like, that's a thing. And I know women, of course, a lot of women, they're in this place where they need to reinforce that. They need to hear that. They need to have their boundaries honored, because we also live in a very fucked up world where a lot of people dishonor each other's boundaries. They don't understand what it means. Maybe they've been raised in a place where their boundaries and their relation with boundaries have been traumatized. That's a whole other thing. But I'm just simply saying is, yeah, it's a nice thing to know that you yourself, alas, like anyone, you're allowed to set boundaries whenever you want. Like, I'm allowed to set a boundary whenever I want. I'm allowed to be like, all right, thank you, everybody. Thank you for chiming in, and just exit the stream whenever I want. You're allowed to exit the stream whenever you want. You're just like, nope, not for me. I'm not feeling this. That is you setting a healthy boundary. That's honoring your boundaries. And you're allowed to do that whenever you want with anybody. And it's bizarre. It's bizarre because we also live in a very strange time where social media often reinforces this broken narrative that people are entitled to our energy. Some of us, maybe we're not conscious of it, but a lot of people, we operate at this place, unless you've, step outside of this programming. A lot of us, we operate in this weird way. If you use social media. If you don't, you're killing it. You're killing it in life already. But social media likes to reinforce the idea that we are entitled to each other's energy, at least by default. It's like you pop on your little social media account and your little green chat bubble or circle or whatever you're on pops up, and people are like, oh damn, this person is suddenly boundaryless. Like, I'm entitled to their energy. They'll think that, maybe in a broken narrative. They'll be like, let's engage, let's send a message, let's talk. Even though they don't even necessarily realize that boundaries still apply. We're still human beings. I'm a human being, you're a human being, they're a human being. Maybe they're even a stranger, you barely know them. Nobody's entitled to anyone's energy. That's just how the real world is. And social media and all these little bubbles of social media, this included, YouTube included, we have these weird little reinforced narratives where some of us, for whatever reason, we're programmed to believe that, oh, wait a second, we are maybe entitled to other people's energy. When in reality, no, that's not true. We're still human beings. You're still a human being. I'm a human being. We still all desire and deserve to have our boundaries honored, as we do in the real world. You walk down the street, no one inherently should ever feel entitled. They don't just walk up to you and suddenly, like, they can just absorb your energy or are entitled to your energy. Freebird comments. I feel like I'm just blabbing so much. I love this blabs. I'm just speaking so much that I'm not hearing a lot of the trolls before they get redacted. But hey, c'est la vie, that's life. The riches and the human experience. So much, Sonny. So much, brother. I think we're gonna take this stream down to my studio and do some recording, because this piano served us well. I kind of just use the piano as a launch off point. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? I want to stream, but I also just want to play piano. For myself, for those that love that chill, sort of mellow piano sound, which I know I love. Piano for me is it's like catharsis. But what's also cathartic as fuck? Being in a music studio. Money is the means, but it's not the end. Yeah, I wonder how behind I am in the comments. Let's see. Pretty behind, but not that behind. So, etc., etc. Words. Alan Watts. Success. How behind? I was pretty behind, I think. Let's see. I'm gonna play dress. Wow, there's a lot of comments that were just trolls that I just somehow completely glossed over, but I'm happy I did. I love refrigerators. Beautiful. Alan Watts. Bap. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the future. Back to the refreshed part of the comments. Money is the means, but not the end. Yeah, it's like, don't get me wrong, like, we live in a society. You might hear that all the time. It's true. We live in society. Money has some sort of practical application. That's a whole nother thing that I have to go off in philosophical tangents of, but I'll spare you the tangent. Pragmatism, conventions, that's what they are. Money is the perfect encapsulation of pragmatism. If you don't know what that is, I highly recommend William James' Pragmatism. His core thesis of what pragmatism is, of how we're creating these pragmatic conventions in society. We've done this for the last, multiple hundred years. And his whole thesis was basically creating a philosophy of realizing, basically poking the holes of why and how modern society has devolved, because we focused on some point in our development of society, we focused on what was convenient, what was practical, versus what is actually true, what is actually translating into better wisdom, a deeper context of knowing. We, for whatever reason, we just humans, we did this weird thing. We're like, you know what? We could, for whatever reason, if we really tried to pull these threads, we could, develop structures of science or structures of law or structures of monetary, flow and economics. We could have developed these in a place where maybe it wasn't just about convenience. It wasn't just about modern convenience. It wasn't about, who can make more money or who can do more, basically more practicality. How it's like we had this weird impasse that, William James and Pragmatism sort of underlined, of how we as humans chose practicality. We chose that over something that was much deeper, over something that was maybe a deeper dimension of wisdom that could have built a better society. We diverted from that because we're like, you know what? We want to choose convenience. We want pragmatic practicality. And that's where a lot of humanity went wrong, apparently. That's what William James believes. But anyways, all I'm simply saying is, yeah, money is a convenience. Alan Watts says this in many of his books. William James confirms this. If you understand pragmatism, of why a lot of us are like, oh yeah, we're going to do what's practical. Are we going to do what's right? Are we going to do what's actually aligned with the deeper dimension of what we actually desire? Probably not, because society is confirming, and like, yes, let's go for conventionalism. Let's confirm pragmatism. It's like, let's choose what is convenient versus what is actually true. That's what a lot of us have built the foundation of what our society is built on. It's kind of fucked. I mean, it is fucked. It's very fucked. But that's okay. So it's 420 right now. Wow. I don't celebrate 420, but happy 420, because it's 420 right now. Yep, so right. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Music evokes the mirror, lets you see the development as a self. That's a beautiful statement. That's a beautiful statement, Mordecaro. I agree. Man, I must say, it's crazy. I literally spent hours earlier, maybe an hour and a half, just working on videography to do one long format video and then editing it. It just fried my brain. I gotta say, that's there's a lot of effort that you can put into making YouTube videos, and I'm not even sure if it's worth it. I don't even know if it's gonna translate at all. Welcome to YouTuberville. Endless grind for no actual metric, of success. I use music to deliver messages on my channel. That's awesome, Sonny. Well, I appreciate what you've shared so far, brother. I appreciate your perspective. Bob Moog once said, I would be egotistic of me to say that my ideas were my own. I believe that I'm a network of ideas, and the ideas come through me. I think I've actually heard of that exact quote. I've heard of that exact quote, actually. I'm trying to remember where, but I agree with that. Yeah. It slips through my fingers. Everything is some consciousness, and we tap into that. It's about energy at the most basic level. It really is. It really is. Yeah, Moog modulator. If you're new to this channel, welcome. But I love to constantly return to, where is it? To this book. To Joe Dispenza, naturally. Joe Dispenza. And it's not complex stuff. It gets complex, of course, because he's talking about the quantum and, metaphysical philosophy, but In the simplest right, yeah, our words and our thoughts are all energy. Emotions are energy in motion, as Joe Dispenza likes to say. It's like our thoughts are infused with emotions, and our emotions are energy in motion. Therefore, our thoughts hold energy. Every thought we have is energy. And energy is everywhere, obviously. Like the thoughts and the way we perceive and our beliefs, like it's all very esoteric and beautiful and metaphysical, but yeah, it's like the thoughts that we think and the ability that we have to influence our reality is profound. Like if there's anything you desire to take away from the stream, it could just be simply that. It's like the fact is we have so much more ability and influence over reality than we could ever imagine. And just really, if you just understood that simple piece of it, like you really just reflected on that and thought about that, and be like, okay, so if in truth everything we think and everything's influencing and interplaying into each other, that means just one little conscious thought, one conscious choice that is in the right direction, that is in a direction that you desire to be, this is going to truly serve you to a point. It's going to really just translate beautifully. Anyways, it's been a very beautiful intellectualized domain. We're going to take a moment to just kind of create a more meditative space for the perceiver. I got some ash on me. I'm going to wash our hands right quick. That's crazy. Have this like black soot on my hand. How muchacho? Hello, muchacho. Yo. I'm great, Billy. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Magic. Everything has some consciousness and we tap into that. Sick. Yeah, appreciate you, brother. It's good to see you. Brother, how to escape the mind traps. Yeah, it's so beautiful. And it's like, if there's anything I could recommend for people that just desire to, just step into a rabbit hole, just read some Joe Dispenza. Like, if you don't resonate with Joe Dispenza as a whole, he's almost like a very, what's the word? He's a strange kind of character sometimes, and a lot of what he says is very dense, it's very intellectualized, but his books are very well written, and they're very digestible if you take the time to digest them successfully. It makes sense. Same t-shirts for weeks now. Yeah, dog. Cold hard facts. This is my favorite t-shirt. This was actually a gift, so it's very sentimental. Plus, it just rocks. Yeah. Thanks, man. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for listening. Feeling good doesn't occur by accident, just like the garden doesn't happen automatically. The plants must be tended and cared. Yes, happiness is the same. We must cultivate it. It's so true. I mean, I was actually doing a cold plunge. Well, yesterday I was making this message come through where, yeah, I was like saying very actively. I remember I just did a cold plunge, and before I did the cold plunge, I just started this monologue where basically I was just saying success does not happen by accident. Like, some people might think, they're like, oh, wow, stumbled in success, or wow, that guy's so successful, or woman, or whatever. Success does not happen by accident ever. It's genuinely, it's a product of various numerous choices, intelligent choices that compound, that then evolve your perspective to see evolved models of things. It's not an accident. It is a fucking conscious array of choices that you have to constantly choose every single day. Like, it's bizarre. And cold plunges, I'll be perfectly honest, if you're new to this channel, I talk cold plunges a lot. I advocate them. I've done streaks of 40 days. I actually did a 40-day streak of cold plunges and short sprinting and various practices. I took about a week off. And then the last 4 days, I'm on day 4 of doing short sprints and cold plunges again. You don't need to do cold plunges per se. Maybe you should. There's a million different benefits, but cold plunges is just one example of making a choice. It's like, okay, you can wake up, you can go for a sprint, and do a cold plunge. You know, if you live, for me, I'm fortunate to live near a river where I have this ability. I'm very blessed for that. But you have the ability to make intelligent choices. And if you make these intelligent choices every day, you better believe they're going to translate into a deepened perspective. And again, if you're making intelligent choices and decisions that affect your dopamine, this is significant. Like, this is truly, I would say, some of the most important decisions you can make. Anyways, I think I need to drink some water. I'm just like speaking words, not drinking water. Anyways, I've been very just intellectualized as we are these last couple days. I think it's the cold plunges. I think I've also just been processing a lot. I think there's a lot going on in this world, but you know, it's good in every right. Sort of what I was speaking of just a little bit earlier, just to honor your body. Like, you know, I was kind of responding to muscle ups. He was just kind of openly sharing how what he's feeling about, you know, maybe his nervous system, about maybe just not feeling good within your body, just not feeling well, like your mind is like malaligned, your somatic body is feeling disconnected. It's like, we live in a time, unfortunately, we live in a time where a lot of us, you and I probably most, we can guarantee that we are holding on to suppressed, blocked emotions, you know, trauma, be it blunt force trauma, you know, just like physical trauma from whatever reason, or emotional trauma that is stored within our body. Our body is holding on. Our muscle fascias, every part of our body is storing something in our muscle fascia, in our somatic body, our nervous system. And I think it's just really important to acknowledge this, because yes, to rewire, to reprogram your somatic body, to, you know, release the tension and the trauma that is stored in your body, so to speak, the emotions maybe that are just blocked. Takes conscious intervention. This takes conscious intervention, you know, to honor your body, to nourish your body, whether that is just deeply breathing, you know, whether that's choosing to just like feel into your body, to move your body, to dance, to do, you know, extremes like strength training or cold plunges, as I love to do, or do all these things, right? It's just like, this is maybe your sign to just honor your body. Like, learn to just be like, you know what? Maybe this is high time to just like see how you can truly release and just unblock these blockages that are in your body. And of course, this extends, as everything does, into your energetic body, the subtle energy body, the body that is beyond the physical vessel. But I'm just right now talking about the physical body, the vessel. Like, let us just nourish your body, friends. Eat nourishing foods. Give yourself time to sit with gentle, loving breaths, you know? If you have an intimate partner, you know, appreciate every second you have with this beautiful soul. Take that time to honor each other's somatic bodies. Like, there's just so much beautiful ways to nourish your body. And it's, again, I think the whole core message I'm just trying to emulate is, a lot of us, we're holding on to generations of blocked energy, of muscle fascia that's holding on to tension and trauma from lifetimes, if not, well, decades of our lives and beyond. So it makes perfect sense. This is a thing that takes conscious, you know, ability to just reprogram. And then once you do, you know, life will not be the same at all, for the better. Man, I'm really looking forward to eating these potatoes. I've cooked a bunch of potatoes earlier, and I'm kind of on a fast, but damn, this will be great. uh, Thank you so much. Thank you, brother. Thank you for showing up for yourself, Muscle Up. You're doing great, brother. The fact that your name's Muscle Up, like, you get it, dog. Like, muscle ups are dope. You talk much better than my psychologist. Great mission. Oh, I thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yes, I can't tell. Behind blue eyes. Gabby, so miss. Legendary. I I really feel strongly about our ability as individuals to communicate, communicate our truth to ourselves, to the universe, to exercise that. And I think, I'm a dude that all these things I speak of, I live these things. Like, without a shadow of doubt, this has been like a greater betterment of my life. Oh, whoa, it's this guy. But I very much know these are things that I've embodied, that I've integrated for various years, and will continue to integrate, understand. But the simplest thing I'm trying to say is, yeah, as a guy that embodies these things, I strongly believe in the life-changing qualities of honoring your body, of honoring your somatic body, of going deeper and pulling these threads. And what I want to say is, how does this word usually? Forget the way it was worded. Basically, it's compiles. These things, they build momentum. You get deeper. Yeah, what is it? How they say it. There's a term in health science and it's like neuroscience. It's not compiles. It compounds. That's the word I'm looking for. These things, these concepts, right? They compound in time. They compound. They build off of each other. You begin to see, well, I've built momentum. I understand my body in relation to my mind. I've maybe tapped into some metaphysical anomalies that make sense. You're like, you know what? Life, these philosophical core truths of how much ability we have and how much our body influences our mind and our mind influences our body and our physiological body and our psychological body and our energetic body. Like, these things become like so crystal clear that it is easy to split through the programming, and when if you desire, and you're in some immediate reality where, welcome 2026, you have the free reign to be a YouTuber if you desire. You don't need to be a YouTuber, content creator, whatever you desire to be. Maybe you just want to make content, for yourself. You can do whatever you want, but it's like, when you get to these deeper things, we as humans, when we unite, when we unify, when we learn to see the ability we have as social beings to empower, inspire, and unify each other, powerful things happen. And of course, YouTube is a wilderness. YouTube is like almost like a wasteland, if you will. I mean, maybe like a wilderness is the better word. Anybody and everybody is here. We're all here. All of us. The unconscious, the conscious, the somewhere in between. And it's like, we all can learn from each other. Like, if I'm on a live stream, this has kind of been just me monologuing my brains out, but but it's like, we can all learn from each other. Like, your words, your perspective matters. Even if you're a person that's like locked in programming, you're like, man, I've been living an unconscious, compulsive patterning and life has been really difficult. Your perspective matters. It has value. It's like, you have powerful value that you can teach me, that you can teach all of us, like in your real world, of course. But it's like, there's so much powerful ability that we can achieve in something like this platform. Thank you. Blue hearts and smile back to you. I'm gonna look on my computer. I'm so far behind comments, but we'll try to catch up. So can you play Domer Funk? Can't say I know what that is. I was listening to the Braveheart song earlier. I was watching Braveheart strictly to find the one theme in it. And there's that one tune where it's like, something there, somewhere in that octave. I don't know. We live in a society. Yeah, it's true. Can you play Domer Funk? So he just yaps. Nice. Nice. Very nice. Yes, I love this. Yes. Hell yeah, brother. We have Pontus. Pontus coming in the chat. Projecting heavily. Dropping his unconscious narratives. Like, you're the guy. I love it. Thank you for being a part of this, Pontus. You are the exact polarity I just spoke of, brother. You are the unconscious, the compulsive. You're doing an amazing job, brother. Thank you for being here. Thank you for beautifully articulating exactly what I just said. So you're saying I'm yapping, blah, blah, blah. Great. Wonderful. That's amazing, brother. You've revealed yourself. Like, thank you, brother, for sharing your whatever that was. But yeah, again, you're just making the point even stronger. If you're listening, if you're really listening, I don't think Pontus was, because he's not the target audience. He's lost comment rights. He'll disappear into obscurity. That's okay. You know, c'est la vie, as we know. But yeah, that ass. It's like these are things that are important to consider. Is we all have value. Like even Pontus, homie, just doesn't probably belong in this audience. He probably doesn't. He can't wrap his mind around half the things I'm saying. That's okay. Even it's like that doesn't disqualify anybody. But fact of the matter is, it's like we all do have value to offer each other. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If it resonates, it resonates. It's just like this entirety of this channel. I teach guitar. I do meditative sound journeys. I like to deep dive, about the brain, about dopamine, philosophy. This is just what I do, right? This is what I do in my regular life all the time. And this channel, excuse me, this channel is an extension of that. And if it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, then, carry on. Go find your AI brain rot slop that you desire so heavily, Pontus, or not. I'm just jesting. I know you don't. You probably don't want that. But it's like cold hard facts. Man, I'm super behind on the comments though, but those are the breaks. I appreciate you though. Yeah, here we are. This is still it's so much easier to see these comments on a computer. This is why having a studio is a very positive thing. Yeah. Bulgaria. Wow. That's magic. So anyways, there's Pontus. Pontus was filling our comment section, as per usual. Said about 6 comments. Deleted, because, it's not the target audience. He can carry his way. Keep on trucking, Pontus. These are the breaks. It's like, I had a nice little, I was articulating earlier. We live in a funny time, right? We live in social media land where a lot of us, we haven't touched grass, so to speak, if we're going to summarize it. Like, we don't understand the core importance of being in the real world, honoring each other's boundaries, learning to communicate like full-grown adults. And the product of that is some of us, we walk around social media land in a compulsive stupor, like Pontus, of course. We're not to throw more salt at you, Pontus, if you're still here, but reality is a lot of us, live in this delusion. We live in this delusion where we think, oh, wait a second, we're entitled to everyone's energy. We think, oh yes, everyone at any given drop of a hat is entitled to whatever it is our perspective are. And it's the simplest, right? Yeah, Pontus, he fails to realize that it takes a quarter of a second and he's permanently, kicked from the community. That's all good. C'est la vie. It's all said and done. But it's like, I don't want him a part of the community. Like, why would he even live in this weird delusion that I give a flying fuck about his opinion, right? I wouldn't even call that an opinion. It was just him projecting, his own little, like, whatever it was. Oh, swapped the phone. So then we're scrolling. Pontus. Yeah, we love, again, I say that with sincerity, is I actually do appreciate, like, I appreciate the 1%, I appreciate the 1% that desire to troll and project their negativity. Like, they are just only so human. They're so beautifully embodying that which is basically what we don't desire to, again, it's like they're the perfect example of the compulsive, failed, neglected communication pattern that is present in society. Like, Pontus is literally just, he was a perfect example. He was literally like, it's almost like he was like, just being a perfect example of what's wrong with a lot of these things. Not to like throw salt at him as a person. I don't know as a person, but he's operating of a compulsive pattern. He's failing to realize how his inability to communicate is reflecting poorly on his ability to be received by maybe by communities that he's like, you know what, maybe I want to learn a thing or two, or maybe I want to listen to some cool music, or maybe you want to pick up a guitar. Maybe so, brother, but you'll never figure that out, at least not from this community, because, you know, his own inability to practice just a little bit of self-awareness. But anyways, say la vie. I'm going to continue along in the comments. Fortunately, you're right again, manipulative governments. Yeah. Yeah, that's... Again, you know, as I was speaking earlier, it's almost like I say that with almost like a call to action, to be like, hey friends, like, yeah, your government, your manipulated dopamine pattern, you know, the larger, yeah, the larger like governing sort of entities, we'll call them, or just, you know, the societies, the corporations, the XYZ, they don't have your best interest in mind. Like, we don't have to reflect that or like really conceptualize that deep. You know, the pharmaceutical industry, pharmacology, XYZ, the whole, you know, I love studying the mind, the body. You know, I studied to be a trainer. I really love dimensions. I want to become a movement coach in the future, really. You know, I really love studying the mind and the body. And unfortunately, we're in a very bizarre society that is profiting heavily from your dysregulated health. Your dysregulated mental health, your dysregulated physical health, your dysregulated physiological health, everything you can think of. Like, they are literally profiting. They, as in, again, larger dominating, governing cultures, whatever, right? Or not cultures, yeah, companies and corporations. It's a bizarre reality, but what I'm simply saying is, if that doesn't make you think, like, you know, be like, you know what, like, let's actually try to reclaim our autonomy. Like, let's actually do something to break outside of these foundational patterns that is successfully manipulating the mass majority of us. Like, it's just, and again, I'm not, it's like, this is simple. It requires awareness. That's why I love to talk about these things. It's like, you have a little bit of awareness, and in itself, that is genuinely transformative. You know, you're like, you know what, maybe I don't want to make a decision that's feeding and letting larger manipulative corporations at large profit. Like, maybe you want to make a decision that actually is aligning with something that is beyond that. You know, maybe not. I don't know. Like, obviously, there's many different programs and programming going on, but I don't know. This is the calmest. Yeah. This is the calmest I've been in a long time. Some over the topics give me anxiety. I see. Some over the topics. Some over the topics. Interesting. I'm glad to hear you're feeling calm, Mike. Yeah, I mean, for those of you that are chiming in that are new to this community, I mean, this isn't like the entirety of what I like to just create music. I often will do meditative sound journeys. I don't know. I think I've noticed a lot in these last few days, truthfully. You know, I've been on this quest to re-regulating my nervous system, which I always am constantly. I like to pull those threads to, you know, just create a fundamental balance. I've been on a grind where, you know, I've been growing this YouTube channel for several months now and beyond, and I'm really in this place where I've been grinding. You know, I've been trying to find this powerful balance between trying to, you know, achieve my goals and growing as a YouTuber, but also trying to really look at the harmony, the underlying thing. And I think, long story short, is I think we're at an apex right now. Maybe this is just me, but I'm looking really objectively into a lot of, you know, the things, the variables in my reality. I'm like, wow, like, these are trying times. Like, we're in a very intense time. It feels like, at least these last few days, there's an intense shift. And I think that's part of why my mind is just truly, you know, genuinely feeling the desire to be like, you know, let's let's go into a deep dive about some things that I think are important to sit with. But yeah, typically I also do love to appreciate the simplicity. Sit with just like a gentler energy. So it's 4:48. I'm trying to think of right now. Most of the stream I've been kind of low key. I might at some point just do a nice preemptive exit to the stream, because there's a thing called the Cherry Blossom Festival happening right now in British Columbia. So it's like I'm thinking today might be the last day. I might just go downtown and see what's going on in the Cherry Blossom Festival. That might be just fun. I could probably live stream while I'm there, but I don't think that's necessarily the move. I think I'm just gonna hit some point where I'm gonna gauge what's going on in the Cherry Blossom Festival, see what kind of events are occurring, and maybe check that out. If people are free, they can't control them. We are in so much in the system. I see exactly on my son's behavior. That's beautiful that you sit with that, or that you can see that. Gabby, I think that's because that's a surely. I'll be honest. A lot of why the way I talk about these things, that it's almost like it's like a call to action. It's like very like I love to be very like, let's say tenacious with these things. It's because these are important things to be. Oh, disconnected, reconnect. But whether you're doing this on a live stream or not, whether you're just sitting in your room alone, or you're having conversations with people in your life, or maybe you're holding space for yourself and pulling these threads, these are important things to think about without a shadow of a doubt. Like, this is why I feel really strongly about this, because for a younger generation, like the younger generation, like I'm 31, I might not look it, maybe I do, I don't know, but I feel like I'm in a very specific, generational gap. I have a very specific, I'd say, responsibility from being in a place where I am able to, at least to some degree, see through the programming. I'm like, okay, I was 11, 12 years old when I was handed a phone. I was indoctrinated into this, dopaminergic, technological oversaturated loop or programming, right? When I was like 11, 12 years old. Our younger generation, without a shadow of a doubt, like this isn't even, this is obvious, is they've been indoctrined like so heavily, like in such a degree where I can say for a certainty that if I was indoctrined into like being addicted to a phone, being thrusted into, this technological oversaturated loop that is getting more sophisticated, AI is popping in, the world we're looking at in 10 years is going to be very different, very different. And it's basically what I'm saying is it's more important now than ever for us to start thinking like revolutionists, like being like, what? Let's actually start having conversations with how profoundly dysregulated and dysfunctional our relationships are with our phones. Like, let's actually be, what? Why aren't more of us thinking about this? Why aren't more of us being like, what? Let's like step away from these little squares, these devices that are these sophisticated supercomputers that are feeding us mass amounts of programming. Like, why are we not having this conversation more? It's almost absurd. It's almost like an absurdity that a lot of us are like, oh yeah, this is cool. 2026, yeah, normalize. I'm addicted to my phone. Depression, hashtag sadness, existential dread. Like, it's like no one gives a fuck where they're like, wait a second, why is this not super fucked up? Like, if you were to look at this, from the lens of someone who looks at our life or looks at our generation like 20, 30 years ago, they would look at our generation and be like, wow, these people are actually like clinically insane. Like, it's like they're insane that every 5 minutes or 2 minutes they're staring into a device, into a phone, not socializing, not giving each other eye contact, like not realizing how much they're being manipulated. It's like yeah, if our older generations 50 years ago or whatever look at, they'd be like, these people are insane. Like, this is so fucked up that people are walking around these zombie-like states, normalizing depression, normalizing being addicted in like the most egregious way to everything because of these little devices in our hands, in our pockets. It's like, that shit's insane. And like, this is where what I'm trying to sort of summarize is, full circle, you do realize we have more power than most people imagine. Like, you can have this device, deliver you programming and compulsively manipulate you, or, gamify and randomize your dopamine to a point where you don't even know how to live your life. Or
You can use this very same device to literally build a business, to change people's lives, to connect to communities, to community build, to unify. Like you can use this exact device that is maybe not serving you in a healthy way and actually return to empowerment. This is what being a YouTuber, growing a YouTube channel has literally done for me. Now, you don't have to be a YouTuber per se, but you can take those necessary steps and be like, you know what? Is my relationship with social media, with this phone, is this actually serving me? Like, is this not absurd that the default narrative, the normalization is a lot of us like, oh yeah, we're heavily addicted to these phones. Ha, what a time to be alive. Like, damn, just 2026 though. It's like, this is super fucked up. Like, this should not be normal. Like, people should not be walking around like zombies and yeah, being like, oh yeah, that's just 2026. We're all on a doom path to doom scrolling our way into the graves, into AI destroying and manipulating our humanity. It's like, oh yeah, whatever, it's all good. It's just like Terence McKenna said. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen. I actually really love this talk. I'll actually post this on my channel after this stream. Terence McKenna has a talk. It's on YouTube. It's called what is it? Returning to the individual, I believe. It's like reject authority, embrace individualism. That's what the talk's called. And this talk is a beautiful talk. It's basically talking about a lot of what I'm speaking about, but in a much more direct, Terence McKenna-esque way. And he's very much speaking of being like, why have we normalized like the ability to blah blah blah, like be controlled by this dominator culture? Why are we, so I forget a lot of the talk, but he basically said that yeah, it's like it's actually absurd that we could be we're basically watching the earth we're watching the earth basically expire. Like we're as a species watching the very demise of our species, and we're almost treating it like it's a reality show. We're like, oh, that's wow, that's so entertaining, that's so amusing, even though we're like watching a nightmarish reality of our entire species, you know, going on to its doomsday path. And we're just kind of like, a lot of us are like, wow, that like this is we're taking it like it's entertaining. We're like, wow, this is incredible. And I remember Terence McKenna, he like painted this picture and articulated this very beautifully, and I just find that very amusing that not all of us, of course, but a lot of us, we're almost like in that weird mentality. We're like, oh yeah, this is normalized, like we're all gonna just lose what it means to be human and extinct our species rapidly, but that's okay. Like let's not pretend that I don't know, that's okay, that's not okay. Anyways, yeah. So then we flowed through. Hi, are you man? Okay. I see. So the title. So the title. Huh. So lead healing. Yeah, I saw you relieving me some paragraphs, dog. Thank you for your perspective. So I agree sometimes boundaries are needed, but sometimes they are avoidance. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we can work through and grow things that someone about to. Spelling the pianist. Nice. Well, I like what you're doing here, Lee. Like you're really listening. So thank you for listening, brother. Like I feel like for those of you that are still here, while I'm just like pulling these threads, that you're supporting this channel. Thank you, and thank you for listening, and thank you for listening, leading. And I'll be very clear, brother. Yeah. Without self-awareness, of course, without self-awareness, like actually practicing self-awareness, absolutely, people that can define boundaries as something that is suppressing, or maybe they're falling into a destructive avoidant attachment style. But that's not what we're talking about. Let's be real here. We're not talking about those people. We're not talking about that definition of boundaries. No, we're talking about sacred boundaries. We're talking about people that are actually honoring, that are self-aware enough to realize what healthy boundaries are, and they're enforcing them even in a world of people that are going to try to step on your boundaries. That's what we're talking about. But you're right, brother. Of course, people without self-awareness will convolute, they will distort, and they will manipulate everything and anything. Like they will tell you'll be like, hey, boundaries are XYZ, and they'll malign the fuck or misdefine everything, and they'll twist it. But we're not talking about the people lacking self-awareness and the manipulators. We're not talking about that. We're going to assume that the people we're talking about and the people that are listening have self-awareness, have healthy psychological models, like to some degree. But I agree, bro. Boundaries can be something to be misconcepted for sure. But I think the more stronger argument that needs to be held is even with people that are healthy, you know, radically or healthy, abundant, self-aware people, people will still try to impeach on your boundaries, so to speak. I don't use that word a lot, impeach, but people will try to impede on your boundaries, like people in this world. And again, this is why I think it's important, because if you desire to be a YouTuber or a streamer, or I don't know, maybe you desire to be an actor or whatever, some sort of person that's a performance artist, or who knows, maybe a business professional, whatever in your life, you realize that even if you have profound amount of self-awareness, we live in a world of people that, yes, may try to impede and redefine and distort and twist people's perceptions of boundaries. And often, really, it just requires a person, you as an individual, being like, you know what, I'm a self-aware individual that understands what healthy boundaries are, and I'm going to double down and enforce these boundaries. Like, it is that simple. People can twist around and misconcept and try to manipulate your perception of this and that. That's their prerogative. But the reality is, you as an individual are the one that honors and understands what your sacred boundaries are. And these aren't things, because this is the thing that's very important to understand, is boundaries aren't a thing that you tell someone, okay, but this is my boundary, you got to respect it. Oh, but my boundary is this, so then that's your boundary. Boundaries are a felt experience. Boundaries are a thing that you negotiate, that are freeform, that are malleable. They're a felt experience that is aligning with your nervous system. They're aligning with your values, with integrity. Like, boundaries are, in many rights, yeah, they're a very intimate and interpersonal thing that is like a felt experience. It's not a thing you can just be like, okay, so this is what boundaries are by definition, and then that's what everyone's boundaries are. No, it's a very free form thing that you have to learn to navigate intuitively. And again, in the process of honoring other people's boundaries, you have to do the same. You can't be like, okay, that person's avoiding attachment, so therefore I can invade their boundaries. It's like, no, you have to realize that everyone's boundaries deserve to be respected. And yes, some people lack self-awareness. Hopefully they'll find, the means to return to self-awareness. But yeah, boundaries should be honored. Like BAP, a stamp of approval. God bless. Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Gaby. Thank you, Gabby. I like to hold space for creating meditative sound journeys, inviting musical discussion, talking about music. That's a core reason where this channel has grown. But without a shadow of a doubt, like, I think social media creators, YouTubers, influencers, whatever, they almost may or may not realize they have a role. They have like a sacred role to basically effectively communicate and interact with this entity, if you will, or this technology that is social media land. They can do so with an authentic communication, with integrity, with whatever aligned, moral values and whatever, or they can do so without that. And I think it's almost like, if you're a person that chooses to have a platform, to have influence, and this is, I'm not even like, I don't even have a platform. I'm a new content creator. I've been here for like, 8 months, but this applies massively to people who are in positions of power. I think it's important to exercise your ability to offer healthy influence. Like, if you're a person that has a platform, I think it's very important to do so from a place that is expressing authentically, that is, again, integral. It's like there's few things more destructive than people who have massive platforms, that have, platforms and power dynamics, and just do not know how to express themselves, or, I guess, connect and authentically communicate to the people in their reality. It's like it's a dangerous parallel. So it's good if you know how to authentically communicate your truth. It can really help people, if you take on that role. These have been rolling for an hour so far. Nice. I'm a little under the weather. I posted I may roll at some point. Yeah, no, feel free, brother. Feel free to just honor listen to your body. That's the honor your boundaries. Always honor your boundaries. But yeah, there's no expectation, no pressure. Literally, that's a part of what I just kind of, wanted to poke in the fourth, or wanted to, penetrate the fourth wall, is I can end the stream whenever I want. That's me exercising healthy boundaries. You can exit the stream whenever you want, any of you. You can all leave, and I would not take it personally. I'm like, you know what? Beautiful. They're all honoring their boundaries. But feel free, like truly, if you're feeling like you're like, you know what, energetically this is a lot, or you're just maybe you want to go eat some food. Do whatever you want. Like honor your boundaries. Do so. Phones are a weird technology that for whatever reason we've maybe normalized not doing that. And like you're allowed to exit whenever you want. With that, I think we'll probably do a closing outro in the next like 10, 15 minutes and then see if the Cherry Blossom Festival is worth going to. Pretty behind, but not let's see it. I'm a little bit behind, but okay, wow, okay, yeah. I was responding to lead for a while, but I was so so leading with speaking. There we are. Yeah, but thank you for sharing perspective, bro. I can tell you're listening, leading. That's what I appreciate. Even if you're feeling under the weather, brother, like I appreciate you listening and communicating what you're experiencing. We live in a society. Yes, facts. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Mandy. Appreciate you sharing that, Mandy Mustachia. I'm related to William and James Watt. You're related to William and James Watt. Oh, nice. I'm sorry to hear about that, Jesse. I'm sorry to hear about that, Jesse. I'm going to play a riff for that. Yeah, no, that was a melody for Jesse's daughter. Yeah, she's expressed she has cancer. That's yeah. She's pregnant. I'm not ready to be a dad again. Jeez, I don't even know what you're saying by that. I think you're just. I can't tell if Jesse just said something unhinged, but that was a beautiful melody for the audience. Yeah, I forget where you got your jacket. Thank you, brother. It's Arcane Coda. Yeah, I see that you live talk this, and it's great. Nice. I see that you live this and you talk. Thank you. Honestly, I appreciate you listening, and yeah, you seem like a beautiful soul. But I say for a fact is, yeah, all of these things that I talk about, I'll be honest, maybe I'm, roasting somebody about some random stuff, and we're learning together about, why people are so unhinged on YouTube, the 1%. But most of the time, what I'm saying has deep relevancy to all of this, like my YouTube channel, my mission of how this channel has grown. It's all, strangely enough, it's all deeply woven. It's all very deeply woven. Like, when I'm talking about certain maybe psychedelic conquests that have allowed me to awaken my ability to communicate, but then's translated me desiring to be a YouTuber and blah, 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 blah. Like, it all goes in many different directions, but it all connects very beautifully. It's almost like it's all packaged together. It's like woven. It's beautiful. Do I use Arch Linux? I'm not sure what Arch Linux is, brother. Thank you, Christine. Cool hat, bro. Thank you, bro. Smoke DMT and you'll know the truth. I mean, I like Changa. I like Changa DMT, but I've spoken very openly about my experience with Changa. I love it. I revere it. Beautiful compound, sacred compound. But I don't think I would advocate you say smoke DMT and you'll know the truth. Maybe if you listen to the subtle language of the universe and you honor the sacred alignment of when DMT honors your path, yes. But I wouldn't say just universe like, hey, everybody listening, do DMT, it's the way. No. It's not that one-dimensional. It is a sacred experience and a sacred medicine that should be revered. But I think I don't know. I think I agree. Like you to me, web of forgive, we do not forget. I agree. I understand the potency behind what DMT can offer you, and it's magic. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You know, dimethyltryptamine it's an extraordinary thing in our dreams and everything. You look better without a hat. I like your bandana. I appreciate that, Gabby. It's a matter of sometimes I just rock the hat because it's just like it feels good. Like the hat kind of just translates to expression. But sometimes you're right. It's probably wise to just embrace nothingness. I'm actually gonna get a haircut. I've been saying this for a while now, but I'm actually just gonna get a haircut where I'm gonna cut my hair from down to here to about here, and I think it'll be more organic to just rock nothing. You know, no hat, no, or even just rock the hat without the bandana, or I don't know. I'll change my look up a little bit. You know, as per usual. Dope tunes, harmonics. Thank you, brother. I love harmonics too, brother. Am I Machine Gun Kelly? No, I'm not Machine Gun Kelly, but shout out Machine Gun Kelly. You know, I don't agree with everything he does, but I think he's a dope gem of a human being. Like MGK, he's a gem. You can't deny. He's a flawed human being. He's on a very unique journey. Some of it I agree with. Some of it I'm like, what the fuck? But hey, MGK is just being him, and he's happy. We gotta love that. It's good Sunday morning from Australia. What's good, environment? Sending love from Canada to Australia, brother. Honestly, Australia, I've said this probably a million times, or at least 5 or 10 times. But you know, my top places I would love to travel to: Japan, Australia, Thailand, among various places. But like those, California, definitely California. But Australia is like way up there. Like I feel so connected to Australia for whatever reason. It's just great. Bit foggy and chill here. Nice. It's kind of like it's like warm and like sunny, but also foggy. And yeah, in BC, brother. I'm in standard tuning, dog. Yeah. Let's see if we can. I'm gonna use my computer in front of me to maybe like speak to the comments. So are you Machine Gun Kelly? Blah blah blah. Tax supports the government due to our greedy desires. Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, dog. I mean, there's a lot there, but do I like chilies? Chili peppers. Yeah, I love chilies. I love spice. Spice rocks. I mean, I don't fuck with that much, but I really like ghost peppers. I don't know why. Ghost peppers are just like magic. Like you get ghost pepper sauce or like ghost pepper chips. That shit's just dope. Let's place that over there. Going back to juggling music. Juggling percussive dimensions. I've been doing this a lot the last couple days. Let's see. Do I like Chili's Sweet Dreams? I don't know how to play Sweet Dreams or perform it. Do I watch Caillou? Why? Are you the same dude that just keeps asking if I watch Caillou? The TV show. That's like a child show. The fool rambling about conspiracy, then pulled out the flute. Yeah. I don't know what's I don't know which fool you're referring to or what thing you're saying about rambling about conspiracies. There's been nothing conspiracy related, brother. I'm speaking cold hard facts, but I'll take that with a grain of salt. I enjoy your vids, you're a talented musician. Thank you, Lemon. Thank you, brother. Yeah. I love I love music, you know? I love YouTube. So that's why being a musician YouTuber is it works very well for me. It's just flows like water. Plus, it's like, you know what I find funny? It's like live streaming in many rights. It's almost like, you know, you're busking. You know, I busk and stuff, but it's like you go and like, it's like you're busking for strangers, you know, virtually. But then you can also sit and have a conversation with your audience who you're busking for. You can be like, hey, let's talk about guitar. Let's talk about metaphysical philosophy. Like it's a win-win, win-win-win. Like it's like I can just chill. And just do whatever I want, you know, speak words. Failing to calibrate the right key. I'm still kind of missing the key on that. Yeah, I love simplicity. Beautiful. I feel the same. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here, Gabby. Seemed like a gem. Man, I'm 50. Hey, fair brother. You're still you're still young, brother. You're still figuring out, you're still learning, you're still unpackaging stuff. I don't have a smartphone. I'm not into microchipping. That's that doesn't surprise me, bro. You seem ahead of the curve. You seem, yeah, you're in it. You're on it, brother. You're right. I'm a bit shy for this. I'm supporting guys like you. I'm reposting what matters in social media. Yeah, we all have our quest, Gabby. It's like, and even further, like as I'm gonna go through my own phases, like we all have phases of cultivation, you know, phases of action. Like, you know, surely this is years and years of cultivating, of integrating, of just being, you know, just acting in my own world, in my own reality, which is the most important. Like, you know, being a YouTuber, I grind out these streams because I'm on the quest to get 4K watch hours, you know, to be monetized, to do full-time YouTube. That's like a vision of mine, and I'm right on track, and I'm going to do it. But it's a grind. Like, you know, I know for a fact I don't desire to always be doing YouTube, you know, being plugged in. Usually when I'm not doing YouTube stuff, I'm not even touching my phone. I'm barely on social media. And that's just the reality. It's like I do this with a genuine intention, especially as this intention has, where I want to hit those, I want to hit 4K watch hours. So it's like I know what this translates into. I know how this, the efforts of my, yeah, the fruits of my efforts. I know how they're going to translate. So now I'm just in this phase of action. Man, I'm hecka dehydrated. Wonderwall. Great song, Mila. Don't know how to perform it. I don't learn meme songs. I'm not a cover artist still, but thank you for sharing, your desire to learn Wonderwall. So I'm a little behind the comments. Let's look. Interesting. I still can't. Yeah, I can't tell if she's just trolling me, but I don't know if people even know Wonderwall. Is that even like? Do people ever even perform Wonderwall? What's up, friend? You sound like shit to cut the strap. Oh damn. I mean, I can't hear you. I can't hear you through the screen, but that sucks. That sucks, Hunter. Hope your immune system heals you, brother. Hi, happy Saturday. Always happy to see you. Thank you. Thank you. I'd say the same, but this is a YouTube stream. No, but thank you for your energy. I appreciate you. That's kind. It's happy Saturday indeed. Look at this. It's like the sun is shining through. It's Cherry Blossom Festival today. Probably once I exit the stream and eat a bunch of potatoes and go to a Cherry Blossom Festival, like that's peak. That's peak life experience, I must say. I was even thinking I might stream when I'm at the Cherry Blossom Festival, but I don't know. Maybe not. I love the super real and open ones. I have compassion for the ones that can't get there. That's beautiful, Alicia. That's the way to live. That's a healthy perspective, and so do I. Like, I, without a shadow of a doubt, even for the 1% or the 2% that come here and it's just like, blah, 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 projections, negativity, this, that, or, maybe they're saying something about my hat, or, I don't know, which is not, everyone has entitled to their opinions, but I think even those, I'm like, hey, they're a human being, they're entitled to their opinions. Hell, they're probably well-founded. If this was the real world, we'd probably get along. Like, doesn't even matter. If a person says negative energy, it's going to bounce off me. But this is a YouTube stream. This is my YouTube channel. So, I'll send them on their way. I'll remove their comment rights, and then we'll continue on in this world. But, yeah. We're all just trying to figure it out. We're all just human beings. Nima Rosen. Nima Rosen for that, it seems. Your offer, great advice, bro. Thank you, dog. I try. I think a lot of it, it's just I'm saying this in the fly. Like some of it, a lot of this actually, 90% of what I said probably is all deeply relevant, to my journey. It's like I'm extending the same advice I would offer to myself. It's like I'm giving myself a pep talk. But some of these things, some of these words, some of these things I'm in real time, I'm unpackaging. I'm like, okay, like let's think about this. Or, like Muscle Up was speaking earlier. He was expressing what he was feeling, and that was like a launch off point for me to basically reflect to what I would reflect to my younger self, assuming Muscle Up's younger than me, that, there's ways to honor your body. Be like, oh, here is the central point that circles back to the same truth. Whether it's, honoring your ability to change your reality, via quantum, via whatever, or it's just simple. It's like, how can you honor and nourish your body today? How can you give yourself that deep well of self-love by just honoring your body, honoring your expression, honoring your authentic voice or your expression via words, right? It's good. It's just, yeah, it's great. Wow, guys, I can't say enough. Is that actor from Home Alone? Yes, brother. I am, what's his name? Macaulay Culkin. That's facts. But no, wait, you saw wrong. You're hallucinating, dog. You're hallucinating, Blue. I'm actually Heath Ledger. No, wait a second, you're still hallucinating. I'm Daniel Weber. Daniel Weber here. How's it going, bruv? But no, you're still hallucinating further. I'm actually Axl Rose. I'm Axl Rose, brother. I don't know how Axl Rose speaks, but yeah, you're just Blue. You're just going bonkers, bro. You're hallucinating. You're seeing actors and musicians, and I'm just morphing to a million different people. One of the most genuine guys out here. Oh, thank you, Bulb. May you be blessed with eternal peace and love. God damn, wow. And you, brother or sister. Not, I feel that, brother. May you also be blessed with eternal peace and love. Absolutely. Do you like poncho cheese dip? I don't eat cheese, but I'm sure cheese dip is great. Do you watch Blue's Clues? I don't. That's so funny. Like, so the homie before was asking if I watch Caillou, and he's now asking if I watch Blue's Clues. Yes, I've watched Caillou and Blue's Clues. You just, nothing gets past you. When I was like 4 years old, of course I did. 4 or 5 years old, Blue's Clues, Caillou, and all those weird baby shows. Sure, great shows, but obviously I haven't watched that in 25, 26 years. But I remember it was pretty dope. It was pretty dope. One-handed pan flute, nice. Thank you, brother. It's harder than it looks. It's not, I mean, maybe it looks easy or not hard, I don't know. It's a thing that I eventually, I remember I was sitting in bed once with my partner. I was just kind of sitting there. I was like, I got one hand. I'm sitting here just holding her and being like, I got one hand. I'm like, you know what? If I get really good at just playing with one hand, isn't that magical? I can always have one hand free and I can just play the pan flute, because you don't really technically need two hands for all the playing. For subtle nuances, sure. So yeah, it's great. It goes far. Pan flute's very great. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition or the Peruvian flute. Nice. Wow. Nice. Yeah, this is a Romanian flute. But yeah, dog, I like your playing the guitar. Hey, thank you. Thank you behind Blue. Blue Eyes Gabby. It's magic. You have a beautiful presence. Interesting. Aw, you guys are gems. I like your playing. Was that the mindset? Thankful. Do I like metal? Absolutely. Of course, Farrell, Florida, man. I actually, before I was into this style of guitar playing, I actually have an Ibanez right over there. I love shredding. I love punk rock, metal, alternative rock, psychedelic. Every rock genre is fucking awesome. But I play lots of this. When I perform, my specialty as of late is acoustic fingerstyle guitar. With a little bit of... Lately, I discovered this about 3 days ago. That is playing the mini drum. It looks weird to do thumbs up in real life, but it rocks, though. Something, I really love your non-judgmental spirit to others, but mostly I love seeing it with yourself. Everything has meaning in your own organic way. Wow. Yeah. That's magic. That's pretty profound, Alicia. You're right there. That is truly, that's a profound thing to say. Is that is a profound act of self-love. To be able to accept your your narrative, your dialogues, no matter where they go. I think that's a profound act of self-love. No matter how weird or outlandish or philosophical or maybe even just less philosophical, that is true. I think that is a powerful act of self-love to the self. To be like, you know what? I'm just yammering on about XYZ, or this is where my mind desires to go. And when you hold space for that, that's true. You realize that, well, your words, they're beautiful. Whatever they are, however they want to come out, wherever they want to go. And it's not even from a place of like, yeah, it's like not even from a place of unconscious materia. It's like, you can basically, what I'm saying is, you can say pretty much anything from a place of intentionality. You could be speaking of things that you have no idea what you're talking about. Like you're like riffing about astrophysics or something, or maybe you're riffing about, talking about this, that, the other things. And like, if you approach it from an open curiosity, we're like, wow, isn't that so cool? That person said this, that I have this perspective. Even if you're not an expert, even if you're just trying to riff and make sense of these things in an intentional way, where it's like you're fully self-aware of the words you're saying and you're accepting the words as they're flowing through. That's part of the magic, I think, of learning, quotations, to communicate. It's like it's having a radical acceptance and more of like a radical love for the words you say, for your voice. Being like, oh, your voice matters. It's true. Your voice, my voice, but like speaking to yourself, you're like, oh, wait a second. The words I say actually have value. They actually do. And you really believe that in a healthy way. That's very empowering, because you could say nothing, or you could say nonsense, or you could say the most articulate, philosophical things in the world, and you mean everything you say. It's all intentional. And I think you're correct with that, is like, that's a thing that you have to learn to exercise. Where you're just practicing self-love. You're like, oh, maybe I'm not articulating in the best way possible. Or maybe, someone could see what you're saying and be like, you know what, maybe that is or is not the truth. Or maybe they'll define it based on their own, one-dimensional opinion. But it's beautiful when you give yourself permission to be, you know what, my voice matters. Maybe it doesn't matter to everyone. Maybe everyone's going to distort it or project, but that's okay. Like, who cares? It's like safety. You're like giving yourself verbal safety to be like, you know what? But I've never thought about that, because you're right. It's like, it's weird how there's a slim percentage of people, if a person were to come on here and say something that's like outlandish, like hate speech or something, that person, I must say, I'm probably going to cast a little, not judgment, but I'm going to want to hold that person accountable. Like, be like, hey, like, what, let them know they're not welcome, obviously, in this community. Like, boundary immediately. But it's like, surely, if there's a small percentage of people that enter this community, and they're just like, for whatever reason, they're projecting, like they're holding on to some true negativity, and they're trying to air it out via live stream, that's also, I guess this is basically imploding my argument of against what I was saying, but it's it's almost like, yeah, if your mind is like at peace with realizing every given person, even a person that is trying to air out a negative projection to the heaviest degree, them also can be a moment of curiosity and exploration. Like, even a person saying something that's outlandish, and even if it's like hate speech, they obviously don't deserve to be present in this community or be this audience, but that is a moment of reference for us to basically practice compassion or non-judgment. Yeah, I don't know. Not as easy said as done, or not as easy to do as to say in the moment. Like, if you're, emotionally invested, and someone's emotionally invested in what they say, but eventually, eventually it's easy to see through. This is the word I was searching for. I'm feeling very chill. Thank you for the connection. Thank you, Gabby. Yeah. I think, too, this is a funny part. It's like, this may or may not make sense, but if any of you guys watching, you're like curious, you're like how? Like, how can one do this? Like, be a streamer. Like, how can you, like, what is the rhythm? What is the way to do this? Like, is this just make you go bonkers, or like, is it like impossible to healthily process and just experience people's projections? Well, the answer is simple. You just gotta laugh. Like, you gotta, like, even if you're the most serious, philosophical, like majestic, I don't know, whatever you want to be, I think the answer is actually very simple. If a person can come into the stream and try to be like, blah, 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 like project some negative craziness, you realize that you can basically just like laugh at them. You can roast them. Like it's almost like I realized this early on because I love stand-up comedy. I love stand-up comedians. Like I'm not by any means a very well-versed stand-up comic by any means, but what I noticed a long time ago, like a month or two in streaming, is if a person, like the 1% pops in, they're just like saying some outlandish projections, right? They're saying something that's just disrespectful or is full on disrespectful. Um, you can basically use this as a moment to just practice improv comedy. Like genuinely, it's like what more beautiful moment than to just roast someone or just pick apart and like practice some sort of improv comedy thing to the people that are trying to, harbor some sort of negative projection. And it basically flips the entire interaction. It's like you're doing mental jujitsu. You're just like, they're just like, whew, they're trying to throw something at you and you're just like, what bap? Like right back at them. It's like, it's magic. It's like you can literally see so much joy and humor in people that may harbor some sort of ill will or projection. Now it takes a bit of practice. It takes like a bit of mental awareness and preparation, but it's beautiful. It's like, we have this massive community of people that are just magical, philosophical, and just like beautiful humans. But then when the 1 or 2% crawls in, they're just like, hey, like say some outlandish shit. It's like, what a beautiful moment to practice some improv comedy. Then everybody wins. They kind of stare themselves in the mirror and they're just like, damn. Like they kind of think to themselves like, maybe they laugh. Maybe they laugh it off and they're like, oh, they were there to try to roast me and they got roasted. And then they look at themselves in the mirror and they're just like, damn, like, did that go how I expected? And it's just like, it's interesting how you can like learn to deal with those things in a comedic way. And I just love comedy. I love, laughing. Just be still. What is meant for you will come. Magic. Yeah. You play the guitar. I love this. I love this bit. It's like, no, brother, I don't play guitar. You got me. That's right. Nothing goes past this guy. This is just a prop. I'm not a guitarist. You got me, brother. I need some, the reason I'm on here is to stream. I'm making guitar YouTube channels because I'm a fraud. I'm like Mike Ross from Suits. I'm trying to have someone to teach me guitar. I'm desperate. I'm like anybody. So if anyone knows anyone that's a guitar teacher, I need to learn guitar because this is a prop. I'm an actor. I don't know how to play guitar. Like I don't know what this chord is. I definitely don't know what that chord is. No idea what that chord is. Yeah, nah. Yeah. I'm a fraud. That's the facts. I hold this guitar because it makes me look cool. I have no idea how to play it. Don't go on my YouTube channel. Don't check out all the videos where I'm teaching people guitar. Don't do that. Don't check out all the other live streams where I'm doing live improv for like 3 hours at a time. Don't do that either. It's gonna ruin the illusion. Because clearly you're right. I'm not a guitarist. I'm a fraud. Yeah, but don't do that. Don't ruin the illusion. Do you get called the doctor? The doctor? Huh. Damn. Oh, damn. Woo! Because my music needs a restitution, restitution. I don't know how that's pronounced. Wow. That's like some Daniel Thrasher type comedy. I mean, yeah, Matt. Yes, Randy. You're correct. I am. I need to call the doctor. Ever seen? I don't know if you guys have ever seen Daniel Thrasher. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. He's actually one of the core reasons I got into YouTube. He has a bit that's called what is it? Like, oh man, it's like when that riff is so stanky, or like, yeah, it's almost like when that riff is just so filthy, yeah, and it's like a hilarious comedy bit where it's like he's playing a funk riff. He's like playing on the piano, and the entire bit is just him getting more like unhinged as the bit goes on, and it's so fucking funny, yeah. Yeah. To practice and also not getting offended. Yeah. Yeah. Offense is a choice. Yeah. I don't agree with that part, bro, but that's okay. Yeah. 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 It's really coming through. Yeah. Yeah. I have a deep desire to learn and deep acceptance for myself that overflows automatically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honestly, that's fair, Alicia. Like honestly, straight up, like I don't know. I I used to like truly, and I still to some degree. Obviously, I'm a human being here and there. I mean, always, but I struggle, with like we all struggle with self worth or self acceptance or insecurity, like here and there, and like yeah, it's I don't know, like I'm just a dude where I'm also a performance artist. Like I I perform like do sometimes I've done some meditative soundry things. I do like festival performance with like fire props and LED props and acrobatics. I also work in the film industry, so like it's almost like um, just because of the things I'm attracted to, performance art, I've basically exposed myself to so many dimensions where I don't know. I'm almost like exposed to myself that there's nothing to like I love myself from the root up. Like there's no reason to really nurture those narratives where, lack of self-worth is the what's the word? I guess is the prevalent narrative. But I think it's normal. It's human. Like it's human, you know, I almost jest as like the reason why I am the way I am, why I'm like, a full-fledged confident human being, like just a competent, confident human being, is because I know what it feels like to lack self worth, to feel like profoundly insecure about XYZ as a kid, as a young teenager and whatever. That was like rampart. I was like profoundly insecure. And that's okay. Like we're allowed to be imperfect and broken, right? Not saying again, that's the definition of where you're at, or you're at. You're killing it. The music needs a resuscitation. Damn. This guy. Well, yeah, I don't know if we got. I don't know how to work at that bit. Yeah, yeah. Whoa. That attack went very strong. Well, damn. It's a beautiful day, and it seems. Good night. Thank you, miss. Thank you, Alicia. Rest well. I know, yeah. I think we're probably going to put a close to the stream because lo and behold, we're at about 2 hours and 38 minutes, which is a beautiful time frame. I think 2:45. That's an excellent time frame. We're here grinding out watch hours, growing this community as we do, and it's just like this is the way. But yeah, we're about three. I think we're at something like 26, maybe 2,700 watch hours. 2,700 out of 4K. Pretty pretty great. Like honestly, in like 3 weeks time, we'll probably hit that 4K mark, and then that will be there. Magic, magic. Yeah, but I think I'm going to probably look into checking out checking out this Cherry Blossom Festival because that feels like a good thing. It's like a beautiful day out. See what's going on in Vancouver. Yeah. I think that's going to be the move because I think the Cherry Blossom Festival is a thing that happens all into the night hours. But we'll check into that. But I think with that, we're going to probably put a close to this live stream. But yes, thank you so much for chiming in. Deeply appreciate you guys holding space, sharing your perspective, seeing some other space and time in the universe. Thank you, Gabby. You're a great teacher of music for mindfulness. I'm happy you feel that. I'm happy this resonates with you. I'm really happy to have you here. You're a gem. Magic. Well, again, thank you so much for being here, friends. If this content resonates with you, feel free to subscribe to this channel. Yeah. I teach music, guitar, and I do meditative sound journeys among various things. I'm on the road to 4K watch hours and on the inevitable climb to wherever we go. But yeah, thank you so much for chiming in. Deeply appreciate you guys and the support. And remember to honor yourself and to honor each other. Thank you. Thank you. Much love. Bless. Appreciate you, OPT. Appreciate you, Gabby. Appreciate you, Environment Mad. Wicked. And thanks for the thanks for the hilarious shit. The hilarious hijinks, Randy. Thank you, thank you. Much love. Bless. We'll see you guys maybe later tonight. I don't know. When I come back from the Cherry Festival, I'll maybe do another late night stream. We love those. Be well. Ashe.